Welcome back, friends. So today I wanted to do my May book haul. I have, I think, 13 books. I'm just going to get right into it. The first book I have is a new release. I bought this with the Barnes & Noble pre-order sale. And this is All Fours by Miranda July. I believe this is literary fiction. It says... yeah, with July's wry voice, perfect comic timing, unabashed curiosity about human intimacy, and a palpable delight in pushing boundaries, All Fours tells the story of one woman's quest for a new kind of freedom. Part absurd entertainment, part tender reinvention of the sexual, romantic, and domestic life of a 45-year-old female artist, All Fours transcends expectation while excavating our beliefs about life lived as a woman. Once again, July hijacks the familiar and turns it into something new and thrillingly, profoundly alive. I thought that sounded pretty interesting. It's definitely a literary fiction. And the cover is pretty nice as well. So, I mean, other than the sticker that they decided to put on there, but we'll ignore that for now. The next book I bought because it was a National Book Award finalist. This is called The End of Drum Time by Hannah Pulliain. I have no idea how to say that. The cover is beautiful, pastel colors. It says, in 1851, in a remote village in the Scandinavian tundra, a Lutheran minister tries in vain to convert the native Sami reindeer herders to his faith. But when one of the most respected herders has a dramatic awakening, his impetuous son is left to guard their diminishing herd. By chance, he meets the minister's daughter, and their infatuation grows into something that ultimately crosses borders as she follows the herders on their arduous migration north to the sea. It goes back to the beginnings of belief, asking how we find faith and how we lose faith, and what we're willing to do for our beliefs and for love itself. Next, I bought Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a romance, which I don't normally tend to read, but honestly, ever since I recently did a video where I read Destiny Sidwell just as an experiment, because Destiny is a romance reader, I very much enjoyed the one book that I read that was like a one true love soulmates type of story. And this is another book, I believe, that either she recommended or Haley Pham, I can't remember, but I thought I'd give it a try. And it is about this girl and this boy. They know each other from childhood, and then flash forward 10 years, they meet again, I believe. It just looked like a cute, easy to read romance, which I thought was a nice change of pace from all the fantasy and sci-fi. The next one was a book of the month option, and this is also a book, an author that I read in that Destiny Sidwell vlog. So this is by Christina Lauren. It is The Paradise Problem, another romance. It just says it's about a marriage of convenience, and then they thought that they were divorced, and then years later they end up back in each other's lives. And so I'm sure it is a second chance romance. Again, I'm not a huge romance reader, but I really, really enjoyed Christina Lauren's book, Love in Other Words. And so I thought I would give it another try. Give her another try. The next book is a horror book. And this I bought from Waterstones because I thought the edition was so very gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. And it's also signed. But that is The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. And this is about a single mom who loves horror movies, and she's offered a job cleaning for a horror director. And so she goes to his mansion, and terrifying props and costumes, glittering awards, decades-long career making films, blah, blah, blah. And so basically she starts experiencing spooky things in this mansion that she's cleaning. So I actually am excited to get to this. It's a pretty short book. It's only like 330 pages or so. But yeah, Christina Henry. This next book is Broken Binding subscription, The Lies of Locke Lamora, which I have actually not read this series. And so I was excited to add this to the collection. This is a fantasy in which we have a unbeatable swordsman, a master thief, and a friend of the poor. It just says that, and while Locke does indeed steal from the rich, who else would be worth stealing from, the poor never see a penny. All of Locke's gains are strictly for himself and his tight-knit band of thieves, the gentleman bastards. This capricious, colorful underworld of the ancient city of Camor is the only home they've ever known, but now a clandestine war is threatening to tear it apart. Caught up in a murderous game, Locke and his friends are suddenly struggling just to stay alive. I've heard good things about this series, and so I'm excited to add it to my collection. This next one is also a Broken Binding special edition, though. This is not a part of the subscription box, and it is a hefty, chunky boy, and that is A Time of Dragons by Philip Cantrell. It is so pretty. And it says, once there were heroes, brave men and women who showed their quality to be above the rest. Those deeds earned them the heart of a dragon. Those whose courage and strength resonated with the unborn, who in their eggs can wait thousands of years for a warrior worthy of them. These heroes rose up on young battlefields and defended the weak and oppressed across all of Eredor. They did so because they were inspired. They had only to look up and see. Dragon Riders. I love fantasy with dragons, and so generally speaking, I will buy it. So that looks really good. Okay. The next one is a fantasy. I think it's YA, maybe. I'm not really sure. But I did see it recommended by someone. I cannot remember who. A Door in the Dark by Scott Wrington.
Wrington? Okay. I'm horrible at pronouncing names.
But this says there are wizards and a university. It sounds kind of like a twist on Harry Potter, because it says, but top marks at Balmeric University will mean nothing if she falls to get recruited into one of the major houses. If being rich were a sin, he'd already be halfway to hell. A disastrous party trick. Fate has them crossing paths at the public waxway portal the day before the holidays. Yeah. So, magical wizarding school. Sounds pretty good. Next I have is Morgan is by Name by Sophie Keach. This, I believe, takes place during the time of Arthur and Merlin, and so that is what the appeal was to me for this. But this is a retelling of the early life of Morgan Le Fay, the famed villainess of Arthurian legend. This dazzling debut is the story of a woman both mortal and magical, formidable and misunderstood, told in her own words. That sounds freaking amazing. I love Merlin and the whole time period. Very appealing. This next one is actually an author that a subscriber or someone who watched one of my other videos recommended to me, and that is Vert by Jeff Noon. I really don't know much about this other than it is science fiction. Scribble and his gang, the Stash Riders, haunt the streets of an alternate Manchester, chasing the immersive highs that come from Vert feathers. Place a Vert in your mouth and it takes you to the Vert, another place, a trip, a shared reality of all our dreams and mythologies. Different colored feathers provide different experiences, but Scribble is searching for his lost love, and only one feather offers the hope of finding her. It is the ultimate feather. It may not even exist at all. Curious yellow. But as the game cats say, be careful, be very careful. This ride is not for the weak. So that sounds very good, kind of Portal fantasy magic type stuff. So I am excited to get to this one. This is the 30th anniversary edition. It's really good. Okay. This next one I heard about because of the Booker Prize finalists, I believe. And this is one, I believe the author recently passed away. But this is Time's Arrow by Martin Amis. And this, basically, from what I understand, tells the story of a Nazi war criminal in reverse. Yes, so a novel that not only rethinks history, but drastically revises our notion of time itself. In Time's Arrow, the doctor, Todd T. Friendly, dies and then feels markedly better, breaks up with his lovers as a prelude to seducing them, and mangles his patients before he sends them home. And all the while, Todd's life races backward toward the one appalling moment in modern history when such reversals make sense. Sounds really interesting, and it's super short. It's only, 165 pages. Excited for that. Then I have another Barnes & Noble pre-order sale item, and that is The Ministry of Time. And when I first bought this, I was under the impression that it was strictly science fiction, but I've since discovered that it is actually science fiction and romance. So there is a girl and she gets hired to do a job. Yes, so a civil servant is offered the salary of her dreams to work on a top secret project. A recently established government ministry is gathering expats from across history to establish whether time travel is feasible for the human body, but also for the fabric of space-time. She is tasked with working as a bridge, living with and assisting and monitoring the expat known as 1847, or Commander Graham Gore. As far as history is concerned, Gore died on Sir John Franklin's doomed 1845 expedition to the Arctic. So he's a little disoriented to be living with an unmarried woman who regularly shows her calves, surrounded by outlandish concepts such as washing machines, Spotify, and the collapse of the British Empire. But with an appetite for discovery, a 7-a-day cigarette habit, and the support of a charming and chaotic cast of fellow expats, he soon adjusts. Anyway, I think that it sounds pretty fun and interesting. I'm all for blending of genres. And the last one is a bind up, and so it's rather large. And this is The Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. And so this has Dragonflight, Dragon Quest, and the White Dragon inside. So this is on a beautiful world called Pern. An ancient way of life is about to come under attack. Lessa is an outcast survivor, her parents murdered, her birthright stolen. A strong young woman who has never stopped dreaming of revenge. But when an ancient threat reemerges, Lessa will rise upon the back of a great dragon with whom she shares a telepathic bond more intimate than any human connection. Together, dragon and rider will fly, and Pern will be changed forever. And that's just the first book. So I think that sounds so freaking good. Again, with the dragons. I'm here for the dragons. So that's it. Those are the 13 books that I hauled in May. I would love to know if there are any new releases that you've bought recently that you think I might like and that I missed out on this haul. And let me know what you've been reading down in the comments. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon.
Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby girl. Kissy. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Hazel's making her appearance. And I'm just going to